people's flag is deepest red.
251,000.
This party is going places. This party is strong. This party is capable of winning a general election.
We run the risk right now of Labour being consigned to history forever. We could just be an artefact.
Traitors sneer, we will keep the red flag flying here.
For hundreds of thousands of people who join the Labour Party or turn up to rallies, Jeremy Corbyn is a champion. For the Parliamentary Labour Party, according to the polls, a big chunk of the population, he's a no-hoper who's never going to be Prime Minister. Now, he won last year with a massive landslide amongst the Labour Party membership, and barring a colossal political upset, he's going to win again decisively. But for a former Tony Blair advisor, Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party is a living nightmare.
Jeremy Corbyn is the most woeful, the most useless, the most dangerous and the most unpleasant leader the Labour Party has ever had in its history.
Big fan then?
He has got to go. Owen Smith is a candidate who would be miles better.
We're going to win. With your help, I can do. Thank you very much for coming.
I think Owen Smith will lose because of people like McTernan. Whatever concerns members have about Corbyn, they fear the likes of McTernan will take over the party, go back to the past and drive the left out forever.
I'm absolutely in favour of a split in the Labour Party, and Corbyn and MacDonald can go and they can take the people with them. This party will be saved, and it'll be saved by the people who founded it and the people who saved it before in the 1980s when it went mad.
The so-called madness he talks about is when the left and right bitterly fought for control of Labour. The left were crushed, and Corbyn supporters are determined it won't happen again. So, I've come to Edinburgh to interview two passionate Jeremy Corbyn supporters. But they're not just any passionate Jeremy Corbyn supporters, they're actually my parents.
Well, the first political meeting you went to, you were strapped to your father's front during the miners' strike.
And when they applauded, you panicked and all your limbs went rigid.
I still do that, actually. Nothing changes.
Corbyn supporters are often accused of seeing New Labour's time in office as no better than the Tories. But for lifelong Labour members like my parents, that's just not the case.
They did some good stuff, that Labour government. You know, I wouldn't support people who say that the Labour government was all rubbish. It wasn't. But from the point of view of ideas, they carried on with there is no alternative. They refused to undo a lot of the Tory stuff. They accepted that private is good, public is bad. And then we got the Iraq War. So you have all this heritage, and you start to wonder whether the Labour Party is ever going to be what it's supposed to be again. And then suddenly you get someone coming along saying, yes, there is an alternative. Another world is possible.
For lots of people, there's a sense of relief that we've actually got somebody who appears to be an honest politician. He seems to be what it is on the tin.
If I ended up not voting for Jeremy Corbyn, would you be deeply disappointed?
Well, I'd be deeply surprised. That's certainly true. Look, I mean, in a family, people have political differences, and it doesn't mean that you're not still family. So your elder brother votes for Owen Smith. I don't agree with him. I think that's a mistake myself. But I'm not going to love him the less.
Edinburgh feels a long way away from a contest marked by purges, court battles and abuse. I want a government that can build a society run in the interest of the majority rather than a tiny elite. And you can't do that unless you have power. And unless we address those issues, unless we address those challenges, we're never going to win. Firstly, winning back the confidence of MPs. 80% of them voted no confidence in him. Some don't like his politics, others just worry he can't win an election. So we've got to build bridges. MPs have to accept the democratic verdict of the members. No more talk of mandatory reselections. Stuff like that just fuels an angry civil war which is tearing the party to bits. Older people. We live in an ageing society, and older people increasingly voted Conservative, and these are the people who actually come out and vote in general elections. So that means talking about things like social care, pensioner poverty, loneliness and isolation amongst some older people. You need a clear media strategy. You can't win elections on Twitter. Back in London, Nandy, who's on the soft left of the Labour Party and who's backing Owen Smith, is frustrated by the acrimony of the party's internal battle and has no intention of rejoining the shadow cabinet.
The Owen campaign has been really compelling to be part of, because it feels like a very open, tolerant, decent place to be. It feels like people respect one another. And the Labour Party has always gone out and fought for a kinder, more decent, fairer society. In the last few months, what we've seen with the level of anger and abuse and intimidation that's happened through the leadership contest is that if we can't even live those values in practice, then we'll never convince the public that we can stand for them in the country.
Clive Lewis has been tipped as a possible successor to Jeremy Corbyn, but he's stayed loyal to his embattled leader in this contest.
You had elements of the Parliamentary Labour Party that were never reconciled to the fact that Jeremy Corbyn won. As far as they were concerned, this was a blip which they were going to overturn, and they spent the next 12 months doing all they could to undermine that leadership, to undermine Jeremy Corbyn, to undermine those around him. And I think, I'm not saying that the whole PLP was doing that, clearly they weren't, but there were some that did that, and I think ultimately the vast majority of people in there, I think, are becoming tired. Labour MPs are becoming tired of this.
But Corbyn inspires many as an alternative to cuts, inequality and war. These women are among thousands who've joined Momentum, a movement vilified by the press as sinister entryists, but they're nothing like they're portrayed.
I don't personally believe that the old Labour Party would win another general election.
I want to live in a fairer and more equal society, and I just truly believe that the Labour Party is the only party that will get us there.
Stay together, strong and united for the kind of world we want to live in. Thank you very much.
So we've had 70,000 people at last count turn up to rallies across the country. That's incredible.
Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
I like Owen Smith, and I think MPs like him are absolutely critical to the future of the Labour Party. And if I genuinely thought he had a better shot of becoming PM, then I'd back him. But I just don't. So I vote for Jeremy again to give him another chance. But this time things do have to be different.
And if the challenges aren't met and the polling doesn't improve before an election, then we will have to think again.
We'll keep the red flag flying here.